You worked hard to become the best and confess to your crush, only to be ice-guyed right before she gave you an answer. This manga, where the protagonist must charm heroines who have no romantic feelings at all, is called a love manual you can use from today. Sitting on a rooftop, a second-year boy named Haruchika Isazaki confesses his feelings to a girl named Kiriyama. Kneeling, he waits for a response. He had finally made it this far. He worked so hard. Everything was for this very moment. Slowly, realizing she isn't saying anything, the boy lifts his gaze and notices that something has changed. Kiriyama is no longer in front of him. To make matters worse, he's not even on top of the school anymore. Right now, he's in a field full of greenery, and as far as the eye can see, there's nothing else. Not understanding what happened, since just a moment ago, he was on the rooftop, Isazaki begins yelling the girl's name, wondering where she could be. A little while later, he hears someone, but it isn't Kiriyama. It's someone else, who seems to be floating and calls him Love Master. And, oh God, it's a very well-proportioned lady who would make me wonder how gravity works in this place. What if she floats up and down, changing direction abruptly in intervals of 2 seconds? Looking directly at the boy in the eyes, while I am staring at her collarbones, the woman mentions that he must be Isazaki. Seeing the boy's swift reaction, wondering who she could be, this ferocious woman lets out a dangerous yet charming laugh. She introduces herself as Goddess Clementine. She has a request for the boy. Isazaki has no right to refuse, so there's no need to bother with complaints. Yet, it's obvious the boy isn't the type to just sit back and let life happen. After finding out that this is her doing, that she's the one who brought him to this place, Isazaki lets the devils out. Shouting, he questions how she dares to do this. He was in the middle of an important confession. However, the woman had no idea, and even more, she does not give a damn. Thank God, there are bigger things about her than that arrogant attitude. Telling the boy to calm down, she mentions he will be sent back if he listens to her request. Even the little creature sitting beside her tries to convince the boy to chill. With his eyes still gazing at that woman, but slowly calming down, Isazaki questions if he is going to be sent back right at the moment of his confession. Right after the situation's tension decreased, Isazaki inquires about his mission and finds out he is supposed to save the world. Nothing new compared to other ice guys. What makes this adventure different is that the boy does not have to defeat the Demon King or anything like that. The Demon King was already defeated last week. However, he will be revived in 30 years, which is a totally crazy situation. The thing is, by that time, the next generation will take care of defeating him. What is different this time compared to other times is that, just before dying, the Demon King cast an absurd curse. Somehow, I start disliking this woman because of her behavior, but while I look at her saying it's troublesome because the Demon King did this only to annoy her, something starts itching my body. My blood starts running again through my entire body. This thing is not that unexpected, though. The Demon King was defeated and revived hundreds of times. Moving on, Isazaki wonders what he must do, and this is where things get interesting. Apparently, the curse bestowed by the Demon King is that the next generation of heroes, who are supposed to defeat him again in 30 years, will not be born because the 7 girls who were supposed to be their mothers had their feelings of love stolen. Hearing that, Isazaki seems to be in a complicated situation, not really understanding the big deal. But apparently, seeing his expression, the goddess starts fuming. She starts yelling that without love, there is no marriage. And without that, the next generation of heroes will never be born. Calming herself down, the goddess mentions that in order to restore their feelings of love, she summoned someone from another world, considered a sage of romance. That person, known as the Love Master, is Isazaki. Hearing her address him as Love Master, the boy feels embarrassed, and most importantly, what does this have to do with him? However, the goddess starts speaking with her companion named Jabril, questioning if the person sitting in front of them is really him. The boy does not have a Love Master aura. Who would even fall for someone this unreliable? However, Little Jabril mentions that she is the one who said he was the right choice. Right then, the boy seems to change his demeanor, and calling her a useless goddess, Isazaki mentions that it's true he has mastered all knowledge about love, but she seems hard to win over. Beautiful women are much easier to seduce. Looking at him with a scornful look, the woman wonders what he could mean by that. However, the boy mentions that he would rather not say it himself. Right then, the woman starts moving closer and angrily tries to grab the boy by the shirt. Yet, this was calculated. Right at that moment, the boy moves his head towards her, making their faces very close to one another, saying that it's disrespectful and telling him to let go. The woman starts sweating because of his intense stare. The next moment, her cheeks turn red, and she silently mentions, "Don't look at me like that. I'm not beautiful." Making another move, bringing the woman even closer to him, the boy mentions, "It's easy to win over a beauty, but you are just too beautiful." Stop. Break. Cringe alert. My body is reacting too weirdly to his eyes. I have to clean my hands. Anyway, at that moment, the boy pushes the goddess away and questions if even now she won't take him seriously. However, she does not respond with words because her knees just gave up. Looking at her with that arrogant expression, Isazaki believes he may have gone a little too far. Jabril, who witnessed that, believes it is really incredible and wonders how he did it. Apparently, the boy made her experience a little illusion. There's a certain distance every person keeps from another person depending on their status. The social zone is between 3 and 1 meters, while the intimate zone is less than 0.6 meters. If a complete stranger were to get as close as a lover, that would be really uncomfortable. That is why Isazaki provoked the goddess to make her approach him. Then, he used her momentum to enter her intimate zone. Approaching outright would have only caused discomfort. But this is where the real trick begins. At the same time, he made eye contact and synchronized his breathing with the goddess. After all, gazing into each other's eyes is something only lovers do. And when two lovers are together, their breathing synchronizes over time. However, the technique of instantly matching one's breathing requires extreme training. Therefore, when the body is deceived, the heart rate increases. Then, neurotransmitters like phenylethylamine, estrogen, and endorphins are released, intensifying romantic feelings. While wondering why he sacrificed everything to master this, Isazaki questions the goddess. If he conquers the 7 girls she mentioned, will she send him back? She confirms it, relieving the tension a bit. Since everything he trained for was to confess his feelings to her, Isazaki must hear Kiriyama's response. In agreement, the boy shakes hands with the goddess, and the woman mentions that after all this disrespect towards her, she won't accept and I couldn't do it. But the boy shows so much confidence, it almost puts the woman back on her knees, ready to tie her hair. In the next moment, the woman moves her body so hard, it makes me lose control over mine. Using a spell, she mentions Isazaki must restore love in those girls' hearts. He won't be able to go back until all 7 fall for him. Next moment, since everything is settled, she leaves the place, letting Jabril stay with the boy. Despite seeming annoyed because of that goddess's behavior, Jabril seems quite excited to support the love master. Having this thing holding on his hand, Isazaki mentions he is fine with having this as a support, but Jabril must stop calling him love master. In the next moment, a teleportation circle appears under the boy. They are heading toward their first target. This little thing will take him there. Apparently, the first girl attends the Night Academy in Filio Kingdom's Royal Merkle. However, there's something else catching the boy by surprise. Things are getting more and more like a fantasy. The first girl is the youngest daughter of a noble fighter clan. They hunt monsters near the Demon King's border. Hearing that she must be part of a clan of fighters, the boy starts believing that girl must look similar to an orc, full of muscles and hands so calloused it would take all the pleasure away, leaving only blood where skin was once on your body. Turns out, Jabril already arranged Isazaki's transfer to this academy. He is going to be an exchange student from another kingdom. Isazaki would be in the same class and seated next to his target. On his way down from the clouds, The boy tries to stop Jabril from moving so fast since he does not know the rules of this world, but this thing lets him know there is nothing to worry about. Only he can see him, and Jabril would sit by his side the whole time. Finally, they arrive at the university, or better said, a coliseum, where one of the fighters is the boy's target. Looking there, a huge bald man is throwing his sword forcefully, but dodging his attacks swiftly, using her two swords. There's a woman who just won the duel. This girl is the first one. Her name is Lady Marion Bonnet. And listen here. If she can wield that big sword with so much skill, I wonder what other things she could do with those strong-ass arms. Right now, all the students are inside the classroom, and the teacher is introducing a transfer student. Inviting him inside, the teacher presents him as Haruchika Isazaki, a student from a neighboring country. Isazaki, standing in front of the class, with one hand on his heart, tells everyone that from today, he will be studying with them due to certain circumstances he had, but he would appreciate their kindness. Looking at him, most of the girls seem smeltered by his calm demeanor and elegant manners. They even assume he could possibly be a royal in disguise. However, this is the result of his hard work. The first impression is important, and he had mastered the art of creating the impression he wants. A gentle smile with a low voice, speaking slowly and clearly, dividing sentences meaningfully. With this, he should be giving off the impression of a good-natured, elegant, and intelligent person. Now that the introduction is finished, the teacher looks for Marion, and after locating her position in class, he sends Isazaki next to her. Taking the seat next to Marion, the girl welcomes him with a smile. Apparently, Isazaki was expecting some kind of Amazoness, someone who would stand out with an amazing body and incredible charm that could make me, the scriptwriter, and you, the spectator, have a really hard time dealing with her appeal. However, she is just a cute girl. Using his appraisal skill, the boy can see some information about the girl. There, he sees her current romance value is 0. Therefore, he must raise this up. He plans to start during the break. After the class finishes, the boy wastes no time and compliments the girl's weapon. She quickly shows a smile. Happy, Isazaki could tell. This she designed from scratch and had the best blacksmith in their territory forge it. Looking at her with those empty eyes, his head tilted just a bit, the boy suggests that if she can handle that weapon, she must be really strong. And with some confidence, Marion tells him she really is, to some extent. After the girl says he should call her by her first name, the boy believes he got her. The trick to getting close to someone is to bring up their strong points. Ask about what they want to boast about, agree, and praise them, and their affection will rise on its own. Therefore, the boy mentions the fight she had the other day. Yet, later on, Isazaki seems to be angered. Marion's romance value did not change a bit. He believes he got a reaction that felt like he was just 1 or 2 steps away from winning her over. And yet, that meter did not move at all. Meanwhile, the little thing flying above his head tries to calm him down. It's only the first day. Showing his true colors since there's no one in the class, the boy speaks more freely with Jabril, wondering if the affection value even moves. And yes, it should, but for it to still be 0, this is the first time something like this has happened, so nothing can be said for sure. Standing up, finding this information useless, Isazaki starts walking in the hall. If the premise isn't clear, there's no way to figure this out. Is Marion just special or not? The boy must test it on other girls. Right then, Isazaki sees a girl in the hallway. She's got that scary face that makes something itch in my body. Somehow annoyed, the woman wonders what the boy is looking at. But that was in the past, because the next morning, her romance meter reached 100. And that's not only her. There are countless girls looking at Isazaki through the window, waving at him. Looking at this scene, it becomes obvious. The only abnormal one is Marion. Since yesterday afternoon, Isazaki tested various interactions with the girls he had the chance to meet, and all of them had their affection values increase normally. Or rather, since they weren't jaded, they were pretty easy to win over. Moments later, Marion enters the classroom and takes her seat next to Isazaki. When hearing the girls say he's really popular, he mentions that everyone is so friendly. However, personally, he would like to get closer to Marion. He desires the two of them to be closer friends. Laughing it off, Marion says people often tell him his smile looks fake. Yet the boy is so focused on that romance meter that is not moving at all. He shows an angered expression. All his attempts to provoke her missed completely. He needs some kind of opening to turn this around. Later, at the Coliseum, Isazaki wonders what he is supposed to do here. He must figure something out. But then, Marion catches his attention, saying that being lost in thought during sword training will get you seriously hurt. Looking around, even if he can't match Marion, the other students all seem insanely skilled. Now, facing her, the boy takes a pose and is about to start, just imitating what the others are doing. Looking at him, Marion seems quite disappointed. That stance he's got there, he must be a total amateur. However, the boy tries to tell her that it's not the case, but she won't believe it. Next moment, she moves quickly and points the sword right at his neck, millimeters away from decapitating him. With this, the girl proves her point. Even Isazaki is surprised. She stepped in without him being able to see her movement at all. Despite remodeling his body just to be more attractive, he was confident in his athletic ability. But now, he's shaken. Grinning at him, Marion says there's no way a complete amateur could have passed the transfer exam for a night academy. He must have some kind of secret. Right then, someone can be seen flying in the background. All the students have been taken down. Apparently, it was a 5 versus 1 fight. The only way to make the match fair. The guy fighting solo? Dean McAllister. He's said to be the strongest in the night class. With ease, he dodges and takes down everyone. He even mocks those who can't do anything against him. Looking at him, Isazaki is frozen. That guy is strong. No, he's on a whole other level. Then, Dean catches Marion with his eyes and approaches her. It's about time you accept your fate, he says. Someone of my stature is willing to take a stained woman like you as his wife. You should be grateful. However, she never asked for that. If he prefers a more traditionally feminine girl, she would be happy if he looked elsewhere. Not making a fuss about it, Dean leaves, letting the two of them alone. Isazaki, now curious, asks what that take as a wife stuff is about. Apparently, that person is her fiancé. Since Dean is strong, and in the Bonnet family, strength is everything. Before she knew it, their families had already settled the engagement. No one asked her. All that's left now is for the two of them to fight. If he proves he's truly stronger than her, it's decided. But she doesn't want to get married. She wants to become a knight. That's her dream. Therefore, she refuses to fight. She knows she's just delaying the inevitable, though. Not realizing what's about to happen, with just a few simple words, the boy asks, "Even you couldn't win against him?" Then she shouts at him. But there's something else happening behind the scenes. A sound can be heard. Looking at the romance value, it changes. Right now, it's at -2. Realizing it's dropping into negatives, Isazaki smirks. He's realized something. The following morning, Marion seems annoyed, and everyone can see it. That becomes especially obvious when Isazaki wishes her good morning and the girl says nothing. Seeing that the little thing, Ghibli, freaks out. What are we going to do? Her romance value is in the negatives. But Isazaki seems more annoyed by him than anything. He already has everything planned. After what he found out, the boy puts more pressure on the girl. He tells her that not fighting is the same as forfeiting, but the girl keeps denying it. Then, he even shows his dark presence, telling her it should be fine since their families already settled it. If you don't want to be called a forfeit loser, just fight and lose already. Who knows? Maybe getting married, having kids, and starting a family wouldn't be so bad. That was enough. The woman, clearly irritated, shows off her well-maintained posture while grabbing the boy by the shirt and loudly declares, "I want to become a knight. Getting married and having kids? That's out of my range. I'd rather leave this world than do something as disgusting as that." Hearing the word disgusting was exactly what Isazaki was looking for. With absolutely no romantic feelings, if someone tells you to get married and have kids, it's normal to feel like that. Therefore, right now, Marion, with her muscular thighs that could break my head the same way they could break a watermelon, has her romance level at -50. It dropped another -10 from yesterday, making it clear she stewed over it all night and got even angrier. Ghibli starts freaking out. What are we going to do now? She completely hates you. But this is completely fine. There's no problem at all. They're still heading straight for the goal. After all, falling in love happens in an instant. Sitting there, all angry and with a love level of -99, it's obvious she could snap at any moment. Everything annoys Marion right now, and just having Isazaki beside her, looking around, makes the girl call him trash. Glancing at her with a smile, the boy believes he's reached the limit. It doesn't seem like Marion's love meter could go any lower. From behind, Ghibli is freaking out as always, suggesting that things are getting out of control. This isn't just simple dislike. She practically has murderous intent. However, Isazaki has everything under control. All that's left is the opportunity. Right then, the big, strong guy who's supposed to be Marion's husband approaches the boy angrily. Throwing a letter on the table, he demands to know what it means. Apparently, it's a duel challenge, and with confidence, Isazaki mentions that Marion's family wants her to marry the strongest guy. He doesn't believe that guy is this one. From behind, Marion wonders why Isazaki is getting involved. This has nothing to do with him. He's only getting more annoying. With a devilish smile, the big guy suggests Isazaki has fallen for Marion, so he can have the monkey girl instead. However, Dean can't overlook Isazaki claiming to be stronger than him. And hearing the boy say he didn't ask for any of this, it's settled. In 7 days, at a time and place chosen by the boy, Duran will teach him a lesson. Seeing all this, Isazaki realizes the love level can drop lower than -99. Now, it's at -100. Staring at Isazaki, she wonders, what kind of harassment is this? Gazing back at her, the boy mentions he doesn't want her to marry Dean. They keep dragging things out, so Isazaki's going to duel in her place. Standing up, slapping the table like it were my butt cheeks, Marion asks what kind of logic that is. But standing on his chair, head slightly tilted back, all relaxed, Isazaki says if he wins, she won't have to marry Dean. But she knows there is no way he could win. To make things worse, Isazaki adds that if he loses, she can just decline the duel result, since she didn't lose herself. With her anger reaching new heights, the girl grabs him by the shirt and exclaims there are things you can and cannot say. While everyone in class watches them, Isazaki says if she's that upset, she should train him for the next 7 days, so he can win. That takes us to the Coliseum, where Marion is fighting Isazaki, who gets taken down. She shouts at him to stand up, or she'll end his life right now. But Isazaki doesn't recommend that. It's written in the duel challenge. If he runs or can't fight, he loses. Pointing her sword at his head, the girl calls him the worst. They have 1 week. If he loses, she'll take care of him properly. Then she give him a head-to-head collision, prompting the boy to ask her to go easy. And oh my God, 2 days later, while training him, she strikes a pose that makes me wonder, how dark can the catacombs get? How much do I have to explore and enjoy those catacombs before I give up? Would I ever be able to leave them after entering? Moving on, Isazaki isn't surprised by the kind of training he gets, since Marion's love level is so low. She has no mercy for the person she hates most. But that's all right. He wasn't hated throughout middle school for nothing. Since there is no time to rest, they must continue their training, and it's decided it's the first strike when Dean is off guard. Isazaki must increase the speed of his thrust. While holding the sword in his hands, Isazaki is ambitioned by his desire to return back to the original world. Unfortunately for him, there does not seem to be any kind of cheat items to guarantee his win, but that is not so important since winning is not the goal. Day after day passed, with training that made Isazaki's hands bleed and his body give up in exhaustion. Now, the day of the match has come, and everyone is excited about the duel. Dean, with his arrogant demeanor, tells Isazaki to be grateful since he is willing to participate in this foolish charade. Gazing back at Marion, the boy thinks over how he does not need to win, but he has to fight to win or he will fail. Now it's time for the match to start. The duel will end when one of them lands a lethal blow, and the arena has magic to lessen the damage of lethal attacks. With further redo, begin the match. In an instant, Isazaki takes his pose and starts charging towards Dean, who did not expect that. With that surprise instant attack, the boy manages to deal some damage, yet it was not enough. He missed the spot. Angered by what just happened, Dean gives the boy a knee to the stomach, making him fall to the ground almost immobilized. Apparently, Dean changed his mind from taking him down with only one strike. He won't end this easily. While trying to stand up, the boy knows he must stay conscious and smile back at him. This is exactly what he wanted. Angered, Dean starts attacking, and it's obvious they are not at the same level. While trying to defend himself, most of the attacks reach Isazaki's body. Dean could take him down in one strike, but Isazaki must avoid that. His first strike isn't the lethal blow. That's just to provoke him. Winning or losing does not matter. The goal is to make Marion regain her feelings of love. Therefore, he keeps on trying. Isazaki tries to inflict some damage, but misses everything. Instead, he is being beaten to the point where everyone realizes this is not just a match. It's a massacre. They even start shouting he should surrender. However, Marion seems to be actually worried. While taking back his pose, the boy knows there is no chance of winning. Right then, Dean mentions Isazaki must be really weird to fight for such a mountain monkey girl. And when the boy tells him to shut up, Dean charges in with his super speed. In the next moment, something I'm not sure I could show you is happening, but the boy is being taken care of big time. From the side, Marion wonders why is he fighting so desperately. Even the referee is not sure if this match should continue, but Isazaki just smiles. He knows that when seeing someone struggle desperately in an overwhelmingly disadvantageous situation, you can't help but support the underdog. And that is obvious when people from the crowd are showing their surprised expressions seeing him still standing. Even more, Marion is not an exception to this inherent psychology. Right now, while remembering what Isazaki said, she cannot do anything but wonder why is he supporting her. A moment later, Marion can be seen shouting Isazaki's name with tears in her eyes. That shouting attracted Dean's attention. But more importantly, at that moment her emotion resolves the contradiction with action. Her love level starts changing rapidly and the woman can be seen shouting out loud, telling Isazaki to win. Right now, her love level changed 360 degrees. Instead of -100, it stands at +100. Back to the duel. That moment Dean lost focus. Isazaki took advantage of it and managed to land a final blow, putting the big bull down on his floor. With that, the game has finished and the winner was decided. Isazaki managed to beat Dean and everyone starts shouting, making noise for the winner. As he is about to collapse, Isazaki ponders over how winning wasn't necessary as long as Marion regained her feelings. But the moment she called his name, Dean's consciousness was completely taken. Jumping on the boy, giving him some medication I've been craving for, Marion can't stop pushing her lovely healing pillows on his face. Right then, Ghibli wonders what just happened. Why did the love level change so drastically? Apparently, what Isazaki has done is called the Franklin effect. This is named after the method used by American politician Franklin to win over opposing party members. Human emotions and actions always align. This time, by taking the contradictory action of supporting a man she hates, cognitive dissonance occurred within Marion. Emotions won't tolerate actions that contradict them, so the emotions change to align with the actions. In other words, by supporting him, Marion's brain was tricked into thinking she likes him, and her perception was altered. Therefore, by lowering the love level to the extreme, the dissonance would cause significant rebound. That was the plan since her love wouldn't rise normally. It was a gamble. As they calmed down a little, while Marion thanks the boy, Isazaki closes his eyes slightly and is about to say something, but is not able to finish. That is because his mouth was being taken over by Marion's. Apparently, this was the first time each of them had a collision of their lips. And hearing that she is Isazaki's first partner, Marion shows a weird expression but quickly changes it to happy, mentioning having her husband's first kiss is the best. Wondering what does she mean by husband, Marion mentions no take-backs allowed. She has fallen for him so much, he must take responsibility. However, it will be tough to convince the Bonnet family. Therefore, Isazaki must become stronger than her. That is the moment when Isazaki realized he might have overdone it. The following day, things really heat up in the classroom. Everyone looks at the back seat where Isazaki feels quite awkward, having Marion stare at him with those lovely eyes. Apparently, her love grew so much she cannot let go of him. More than that, right now, she's glued to his body, making the boy wonder what she's doing. While mentioning that she has an incredibly beautiful face, the girl explains this is her way of flirting. Hearing that, all the boys in the class get annoyed. Isazaki just transferred and out of nowhere and already stole Marion's heart. Feeling pressured by everything, Isazaki tells her she should care a little more about what others think. However, the girl lets him know that he doesn't get it. Worrying about that is exactly what brought her to this point. Pointing her finger at Isazaki, the girl mentions he beat Dean. That's why Isazaki is hers now. If she doesn't make that clear, annoying pests will start flocking around. And by pests, she means all the women who are angered seeing their lovely transferred student with a strong-ass goblin woman. She mentions he's got that riz, even though he's not that impressive as a man in reality. Hearing the boy try to counter her remark, Marion starts listing things about him. He doesn't even know where he came from. He's weak, he's got a bad personality, and on top of that, he's arrogant. Yet his love for her is the only thing that's extraordinary. Ready to lube that needle and pleasure his scalp, Isazaki questions why everything is judged so harshly, but when it comes to love, the standards are so lax. Seeing that expression of his, the woman knows she's the boss and points her sword toward him again, asking if she's wrong. With an angered expression, Marion mentions that Isazaki is the center of attention right now. She's not exaggerating at all. People are saying he was risen to the top of the noble ladies' marriage candidate list. What would I give to rise even one level from my current position and be hunted by rats as a marriage candidate instead of old, bald uncles who want to keep me chained? That being said, things aren't great with her family, since Marion's father was quite fond of Dean. Therefore, to make her father accept Isazaki, a trick will be necessary. And just looking at her expression, it's obvious what kind of trick this woman is thinking about. And I'm all for it. Give me some soap, slap me in the head, and let me give her the baby she's looking for. While the girl seems to be really into it, Isazaki looks a bit scared since things are moving way too quickly. He's not ready to harvest anything since he didn't plant anything yet. However, the girl's reaction is so different compared to a few days ago. And when Isazaki points that out, the girl mentions she didn't change. She's just really excited. It's hard to believe she used to be all, "No way I'm getting married." Right then, interrupting their little conversation, the teacher shows up with his apathetic expression, saying he would like to start the lesson. Later, after finishing the class, Isazaki mentions that since they're already here, maybe they should stop somewhere. He thought they could go on a date. Hearing that, Marion's eyes turn to stars. An after-school date sounds amazing. This is going to be her first date. Blushing hard, the girl mentions she never thought this kind of thing had anything to do with him. With that, the two of them start walking through the city. Well, walking might not be the right word since Marion is mostly running ahead, all excited. Looking at her, Isazaki can't help but give a gentle smile. Seeing her all excited, acting her age, it's really adorable. For a while, the two of them eat, drink, and walk around, ending up at a high spot with a gorgeous view. Finally stopping from running and enjoying the moment, Marion mentioned she had so much fun today. And to make things even better, Isazaki turns toward her, extends his arm, and gives her the jewelry he bought earlier. Extremely surprised, the girl says it's the same one she was looking at earlier. With a somewhat shy expression, the boy admits it looked like she wanted it. And thank heavens for the grass you provided to the cow from which the milk this woman drank came, because those proteins went exactly where they should have. Directly, Marion hugs Isazaki tightly, telling him to put it on her. She wants him to put the necklace on. Having a bit of difficulty, Marion shows some weird expression, yet she's clearly enjoying having her future husband take care of her. After finally putting it on, Marion mentions Isazaki is really clumsy, but that's expected since he's not used to this kind of thing. Moving a step back and looking at the beautiful scenery in front of her, Marion says she didn't know that falling in love could feel so warm. Yet Isazaki shows a disappointed expression. The date is finally over, and it's time for the two to say goodbye. As Marion leaves, the little thing shows up saying, good job to his master. With this, even if she forgets about Isazaki, every time she falls in love again, she'll remember the happiness of today. Seeing the boy look kind of sad, Ghibli mentions there's another option, not erasing her memories and letting him return after conquering the other targets. Hearing that, Isazaki thinks about the past when the final exam results were posted and the girl he had a crush on, Sakura, got second place. The first place was taken by a nerd with glasses. Despite everyone thinking it was gross, Sakura said she didn't find it that way at all, because being top of the class meant he faced things without running away. She actually thought it was amazing. From that moment on, Isazaki decided. His life took a sharp turn. He changed through sheer blood, sweat, and effort. Everyone started looking up to him. He became popular, even taught classes on how to flirt with girls. Despite being insanely popular, that didn't matter to him at all. He changed for only one girl, the girl of his destiny. There's only one for him, the girl he confessed on top of the school. Therefore, this isn't where he belongs. Ghibli, unsure, asks if he's really certain about it, only for Isazaki to answer with a simple yes. Another day comes. Marion is in the Colosseum, fighting 3 people at once and taking them down effortlessly. Other students talk about the broken engagement between her and Dean, even though both families would have benefited from it. Apparently, everyone's memory of Isazaki was erased. But something's different. Somehow she seems softer now. Giving her one last look as Ghibli takes Isazaki away, the boy says, "Goodbye." At that moment, Marion looks up at the sky. She thought she heard something, but there's nothing. Then, her necklace catches her attention. She grabs onto it and keeps looking up. Changing the sad mood, with his buttery face, Ghibli announces it's time to meet the next girl. Getting ready to teleport, the little guy mentions the next target is in the country's 3rd largest city, the port town of Kurberg. At the Adventurers Guild, a beastkin receptionist. And, please hear me out, if she were to wear jeans, would those jeans have a hole for her tail? Or would the tail stay inside the jeans? Hearing his next target is a beastman named Lillie, Isazaki creates an image that may not be appealing for many, but for those of you who are truly people of culture, those fangs accompanied by that long ass, sweaty tongue would be more exciting than a jar of peanut butter accompanied by a hungry dog. Wondering how beastmen are treated in this place, Gibby says there's not much difference from racial differences in the Master's world. There are those who discriminate against them too. They originally lived in the northern mountain areas, so they are quite rare in Kurdoberg, which is a southern port city. Apparently, the guild master of Kurdoberg noticed her excellence and brought her here from the center. Therefore, this is excellent. If she's the arrogant type, it would be easier. But this is not the case. Lillie is not that type, and right now she has no adventure assignments at all. Wondering what is with that, Isazaki mentioned she should be excellent, but the thing is all the adventurers she managed kept on dying one after another. That is why they call her Death Lady and avoid her. This can make it seem she brings bad luck, but this is ridiculous. Therefore, if she's been oppressed and weakened, it would be easier to exploit. Arriving in front of the guild, Isazaki is ready to start his strategy. Looking inside, people remark him, yet the boy already detected his target who looks all gloomy. Even Lillie remarked him, since that is a face she does not recognize. In her opinion, he could be a new adventurer. Right off the bat, another woman approaches the boy, asking if this is his first time here. Finding out the boy was looking for the adventure registration place, she tries to get him to her desk. However, after finding out this woman will be in charge of him if he registers now, Isazaki mentions he would prefer the girl with beast folk ears and a much better first impression. More than that, a fluffy tail you could play around with and make her tremble while playing with it. Hearing that Isazaki wants the other girl, the first woman seems annoyed. Even Lillie got surprised by what she had just heard. Furthermore, Isazaki mentions if he got to see someone's face every day, he would prefer it to be a girl of his type. What the boy just said came out as that he does not believe the first woman is his type, and when confirming it, the woman bursts out. Right then, another adventurer calls him, accompanied by 2 others. The man tells Isazaki it's absurd to ignore the most popular adventure receptionist. Even more, Lillie is jinxed. He even tells the boy she is called Death Lady, and every new adventurer she manages ends up dead. While Lillie loses hope, Isazaki just pushes the man's hand away and suggests that if he breaks the jinx, the story ends here. Annoyed, the other adventurer gets even more aggressive and mentions he was being kind by telling him that, and grabs Isazaki by the shirt. Yet Isazaki does not give a damn. Pushing the man to the side, he tells him that it's called unwanted advice and heads toward the girl. Now, facing Lillie, Isazaki shows his smile and tells the girl he wants her. This statement makes the woman rumble in her words while sweat is going down her face, reaching extreme points on mountains of pleasure where one could only dream to be. Observing the girl is not really able to say anything, Isazaki mentions once again he wants her and she does not have to worry. He will never die. However, the girl has heard that before, yet nobody comes back. Following that, Isazaki tells her that if he dies, she can despair then, but of course if he dies, everyone dies. This statement confuses the girl, and me as well. Looking at him, Lillie mentions he is really confident, but then Isazaki says he can't take his eyes off her because she seems so reckless. With a somewhat shy expression, Lillie mentions she does not care whatever happens. It is time to start with the registration documents, and during this time, both the other receptionist, who has an expression that makes me believe she needs to visit the restroom really bad and take out the dirt snake, and the three adventurers are staring at Lillie and Isazaki. Moments later, outside the Adventure Guild, Ghibli is happy after having a successful contact. But Isazaki seems to be bothered by something. Apparently, he used his appraisal skill when they parted ways. The girl's affection level increased to 32. Thinking about it, Lady Marion's affection level, even after doing all those things, never changed. Thinking about it again, it's certain that in that situation he almost unconsciously used techniques to increase a girl's favorability. Humans subconsciously rank each other. In front of her, Isazaki told another receptionist he would prefer her over the other. By doing that, he showed that she is superior. And when flirting with a girl, this works. When everyone recognizes her higher rank, there is no reason not to feel favor. Thinking about it, Isazaki believes they might have targeted the wrong person, but that's not the case. With that being said, the situation is different compared with Marion's. As Ghibli wonders if it's not good if her affection level increases naturally, Isazaki suggests that this time things will be going smoothly, or at least he hopes so. Outside the city, ready for his mission, Isazaki believes this is a staple in Ice Sky stories, collecting herbs. This seems rather lazy. Looking at the map, they must go half a day west of this town, where there's a forest with a herb colony. The request is for 20 plants. Surprised, Ghibli wonders if his master is really going herb gathering, and it's obvious he would go. Even though Ghibli can produce as many herbs as needed, that won't work. Now is the time to build trust, and cheating would be evident. Moreover, girls are sensitive to such things. The following day, at the Kurtoberg Adventurer Guild, as Lillie mentioned, she said she wouldn't take charge of anyone again. The constipated lady suggests beastmen are liars after all, saying she is not, and mentioning she said she would never take charge again if it brought misfortune to anyone. But Isazaki said he is her last chance. He assured her he will never die. Therefore, she wanted to believe him. With an evil expression on her face, the lady says she hopes this won't lead to regret. Even more, despite being so confident, Isazaki's experience as an adventurer is 0. He could only register as the lowest 10 rank. The only request he could take was herb gathering. A bit disappointed, Lillie mentions she got surprised as well, but in the next moment, Isazaki enters inside the guild. Seeing the boy, Lillie quickly stands up and wonders if he got hurt. With an overwhelming expression of happiness, she grabs his hand and asks if there are any places that hurt or feel uncomfortable. And let me tell you, there's a big spot where it hurts me when looking at her. For some reason, my left wrist is in huge pain. Apparently, while collecting those herbs, Ghibli did most of the work since they were on a sheer cliff. He kept his master from falling by making Isazaki float. As her knees give out, the fluffy-looking lady mentions she's glad. If anything had happened to Isazaki, she would have done something drastic. Seeing her reaction, the level of affection must have increased significantly. But when using his eyes to detect it, Isazaki is disappointed. Her love level is back to 0. Wondering why that is, the boy starts analyzing. She was so worried about him. Did he do something she did not like? He must probe and see. Extending his hand while calling her by name, Isazaki mentions there is something he must discuss with her, but does not want others to hear. Perhaps they could have dinner tonight, and while at it, she could recommend a good restaurant. With her cheeks red, Lillie mentions her schedule is free, but she's about to say something. Yet she is not able to, since Isazaki interrupts her, saying that eating alone in the common room is lonely. Hearing that, the girl's face becomes a little better, and a smile pops up as she mentions he is a helpless person. Moving on, she is going to exchange the herbs for money. She will be back soon. During this time, Isazaki is approached by Ghibli, who mentions Lillie is too easy since she accepted his invitation to dinner so quickly. But that is not the case. Isazaki made it happen this way. Wondering what this is about, the little Ghibli inquires, prompting Isazaki to say that girls like to teach. It confirms their usefulness. Additionally, there's talk about maternal instincts, guiding and teaching children. Asking for a good restaurant is the most attractive request for a girl. But that is not all. Isazaki sought help by saying he feels lonely eating by himself. That was to slip under her radar as someone to protect. Under her protection, affection grows. And the proof is right there. Her love affection rose from 0 to 15. It is time for the two to leave, and while Lillie apologizes for the wait, Isazaki keeps on flirting, mentioning that watching her made the time fly. Inside the restaurant, while having dinner, everything seems to go smoothly. Later on, while walking on the street, the girl's affection keep on raising until it reaches level 70. Then, the next morning comes, and Isazaki believes that at this rate, he would finish today. Full of pride and some arrogance, believing there is no way she wouldn't fall for him, Isazaki enters inside the guild. There, Lillie is sitting with a greater expression than the first time we met her. However, her current affection level is 0. This makes Isazaki fall on his knees, wondering why. Why did this happen?